Welcome back to Free Speech Nation. It's been one of the hottest days of the year today, and my next guest has been making the most of the sunshine.
Do the thing that all of those women cannot do. Which one is to tell you to
That's feminist activist Kellie-Jay Keen in Speaker's Corner earlier today as part of her new campaign, Free Your Faces. I am joined now by Kelly herself. Amazing. Now, you say that was you earlier. We don't have definitive proof of that. Please tell us all about what Free Your Faces is about then.
So, 4 weeks ago, I went to Speaker's Corner, as usual. We do a free speech event for women, and can I just say, not a feminist. Happily, really, delightfully not a feminist. So we go to Speaker's Corner to allow women to speak about the things that they need to talk about, usually things that are quite unsayable. And for the last 7 years, that's very much been that women don't have male appendages. I don't know how much I can go into that, but we'll just leave it there.
Yeah, no, I found out in Thailand. So...
Didn't we all?
Yeah.
So I was at Speaker's Corner, and then two women were wearing the niqab, and I just, off the cuff, just said, "Free your faces, ladies, liberate yourselves, free your faces." And I thought that was quite a nice little clip, 7 seconds, put it onto Twitter, and it was shared. It was watched 24 million times within, like, shorter than a space of a week. And what I found is that it'd gone quite crazy in Saudi Twitter and other countries across the Middle East. And then I started getting the most incredible stories from women all over the Middle East who saw this as some sort of hope that we were talking about it. And then I really felt that I couldn't not do something with these testimonies that are the most moving things I've read. And so I decided to do a niqab with the words "Free Your Face" and go and wear it at Speaker's Corner and then take it off, because that's something that those women can't do.
Yeah. And also, you've given me a business idea of selling advertising space.
QR code would look amazing.
I mean, the irony, of course, is, compared to what you have been talking about over the last 7 years, is that the Middle East certainly know what a woman is.
Yes, yes. They can't recognise one in the street often, though, because they can't see whether or not they're women. But, yes, they know exactly who to erase.
Yeah, and this is what it is, to your mind. This is, I mean, because, of course, the argument for some people is that this is empowering. That's what some people do argue. It should be pointed out that there are Muslim countries that have very specifically banned this.
Yes.
For this reason. But we had the former MP, on her first talk, she was talking about banning the niqab and got a very negative response, and, of course, accusations that come along of Islamophobia. And this is, I mean, the argument also goes on the other side, is that this is an issue for moderate Muslim women who want action taken on this, right?
Yeah. Well, look, I think we can say Islamophobia like transphobia, and we can all worry about accusations like that, and I just choose not to, because I see Muslim women as much of a human being as I am, and so I don't think they should have any lesser existence just because the country in which they live might want to shield their faces and erase them. And I think it's actually completely the opposite of Islamophobia. There is some sort of patronising thing that says, oh, well, those brown women in that country, well, you know, they have different cultures, but we're all human beings. And I think for those women, I can't tell you the level of articulate, moving, like, incredibly intelligent testimonies I've received. And if I can just sort of elaborate on that. One of them said, I've not felt the sun on my face since I was 12. This is a woman in her 20s. I've not felt the sun on my face since I was 12. And my only memories are in these four walls of my house. And also what that veil represents is a life of servitude to their husbands or their fathers, their brothers. They just become sort of servants in their own lives. And then she said, in order to know what day it is, I have to look at the calendar, because every day is the same. And she finished it off by saying that when my family go away, I go to the cafe. And then she used these words, which I just found so profoundly moving. It's the greatest adventure of my life to go to the cafe when her family is away. And I don't feel that I can then not do something with that. Like, who am I not to then keep promoting these voices and actually saying to these women, I will be a vehicle that you can use so you can tell the world exactly what it is like to live your life.
Yeah. What was the response today then? Because from the clips that I've seen, there seem to be some angry men, surprisingly.
Well, angry and obnoxious and irritating men, to be fair.
I mean, I've got to put my hand up there.
You just shouldn't have come. So there were some of those, but my husband just showed me, we were just watching back there, and there were some women like wearing a hijab, and they were all they were quite bemused, and they found it quite sort of shocking in a smiley way. So, and I've also received some sort of responses on Twitter of women saying, I'm from Saudi, thank you so much. So what these women think in Saudi is that if we start embarrassing the king and various people in power in Saudi, if we embarrass them and say, oh, look what they do, they say the West is very powerful, and if we recognise that it's an absolute disgrace, it might be, not that they will just say it's not compulsory, but they will actively tell men that they are not allowed to subject their wives and daughters to this practice.
Absolutely. I hope so. Of course, the sad thing is that in this country, there are people who encourage it, and for the people who do stand up against it, it's, again, accused of bigotry.
Yeah, of course. Look, this is not about... there's lots of views I have about religious dress and how I feel women are oppressed by it, but this is a particular thing.
Yeah, covering her hair is different from literally covering her entire face.
100%. And it not only prevents those women from interacting, but it prevents us from interacting with those women as well. And I think it's quite a treacherous thing for any woman to choose to wear something that is such an oppressive garment and is used to totally erase those women. And I've been looking at erasure for the last 7 years when it comes to our language, but these women are just not even... They're just not seen at all. And I would say to all women who don't wear the niqab, just a little kindness would be nice. Next time you see someone in a niqab, just throw her a smile. Just treat her like you know she's a human being and that she's behind the veil and that you recognise her as a woman, and let's stop maybe letting it be the barrier that I think it seeks to be.
Well, I think we can all agree with that. Well, you may say that you're not a feminist, but you're still standing up for women, which is wonderful to see. Thank you so much for joining us. Kellie-Jay Keen.